Good morning.
Hello.
Hope everybody's enjoying the rain like we are. So,
Well,
we're not out in it.
It needs to be whenever I need to be outside, it needs to be off, and then whenever I'm inside, it needs to be on.
So you need a switch for this?
But yeah, so that way I don't get wet.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, they have umbrellas for that.
Yeah, with the umbrellas, you always get wet just trying to get the umbrella up.
Well, you do that before you, like, as you're going out the door, you just open it up.
Yeah, well, it don't work that way.
Well,
I just haven't had enough practice, I guess. But.
Yeah, we got to work on our umbrella skills, because that's going to be the next Olympic event.
Really?
Yeah.
Be there with beach volleyball? Do they play?
What does that have to do with umbrellas?
Well, do they play in the rain?
I don't know.
I bet they have to call the game.
I don't know. Anyway, good morning. Thanks for joining us. This is Family Jewels. If this is your first time seeing us, hello. But we started doing something a little bit more interesting, and we're giving away.
What do you mean more interesting?
Well, okay, we're sweetening the deal a little bit, I guess.
Okay.
So we're giving away something each week. This week we're giving away an original sterling silver pendant, and it's literally like fresh off the bench because it hasn't even had a tag on it or anything. So whoever gets it today, it'll be the first and only so far.
Handmade and hand carved.
Yeah.
Not the chain though.
No, not the chain. Not the chain. I don't enjoy making chain. But so quick overview of the rules on that real quick. All you have to do is comment or questions, stuff like that. Just say hi, whatever. And then we've already gotten a little number written on a sticky note here.
Oh, they might have seen that.
No, because I had it backwards.
I know, but they might be see through it.
No, I had my thumb over it. Anyway, it's got a number on there. And when we get to the end of the show, we're going to count down beginning at the beginning.
Really?
Yeah.
Be like it the first.
I know, right. And we'll count down that many comments. Whoever made that comment is our winner. So,
do you want to tell them who the winner was last week?
Last week was Kellyanne, and she's already here this morning. Hi. Hi, Haley. And, yes, I hope you're enjoying your earrings. So, yeah. I hope you're enjoying those. Those were kind of a cool deal to start out with. But before we dive into the sapphires,
did you show them the pendant? We don't have the pendant here.
No, the pendant's sitting on my bench actually.
Let me go get it.
But before we get into the sapphires and everything, I had kind of requested of me that we talk a little bit about watch batteries, just real fast. It's not going to take very long. Basically, yes, we do watch battery replacement, and we can do it in pretty much any watch. There's been very, very few that we just can't get into for whatever reason, or we just didn't happen to have a weird battery, whatever. But we have people ask us like on a daily basis, hey, can you replace watch batteries? Yes, we can. And yes, we recommend you bringing them into us because there's a lot of sensitive parts in there that just by touching them or just a little nick here and there, scratch, can actually kill the movement. So it's best if you just bring it into us, let us do it. We've got warranty batteries that we can do and stuff like that. So yes, we do them. Yes, bring them into us. We can get them changed in just a matter of minutes so we can do it while you wait. And you can save a little bit of time that way. No pun intended. But he's going to run and grab the pendant that we're giving away. And then we're going to be talking about one of my favorite stones, which is sapphires. I have lots of favorites. I know I've said this in some of the other videos, but yeah, I do have a lot of favorites. So, sapphires. September's birthstone. So we're kind of hitting this a little bit early, but we want to give some of you guys, maybe a heads up, because if there's a sapphire birthday, a September birthday coming up here in that first week of September, it gives you a little bit of time to educate yourself a little bit on them and do some shopping. So sapphires are corundum. corundum is basically a family of gems that basically encompasses just two main stones, which is sapphire and ruby. And so they are one and the same stone. The only differentiation between those is ruby is red and only red. Sapphire is absolutely every other color that corundum comes in, which is pretty much every color. And so we've got some examples to show you here, and we're going to specifically kind of stay a little bit more on talking about blue sapphire more than anything, just because of its popularity and the differentiations between just some of the shades of colors in blue that can affect price a lot. And so most people put a lot of emphasis on the blue sapphire, and so we're going to do the same just to kind of cover our bases here. But we're going to be talking about basically the crystal itself, where it's found, how it's cut, the synthetics, treatments, all that good stuff. And so right before we get into this, he's coming over here with the pendant. So if you didn't see the picture of it that we posted earlier, we'll show you a real quick glimpse of it. This is maybe a little bit better background too. So this is our little leaf pendant. Let me shade it a little bit. So
I think you ought to make it a necklace. Put it in the link.
make it a necklace. Oh, you could do that. So yes, this is going to be going home with somebody today. So yep. All you got to do is comment, say hi, whatever, and like I said, at the end we'll count down the number that we've got on our little sticky note over here, and whoever made that comment will get to take it home. So I told him,
Are we over?
No. Okay, so with sapphires, the main one is blue, so we're going to spend some time on the blue sapphire, and then we'll kind of explore the other colors here.
Get closer.
Yeah, maybe a little bit, but
Okay,
blue sapphire.
So you basically told them that sapphire is corundum,
Mm-hmm.
and that
Ruby is
and
the same.
sapphire are the same thing.
Yep.
Okay.
So you can't have a red sapphire. Can't
Right.
have it.
Can't have blue ruby.
Nope.
If it's ruby, it's red.
Yep.
If it's any other color besides red, then it's sapphire. So
Yep.
that's
Pretty simple.
Easy enough. But
Yep.
what ends up happening is sometimes the corundum is like a pinkish red or a light red, and if it's not red enough, then it's not ruby.
Nope. It's pink sapphire.
Right. So it gets kind of strange.
Yeah.
So what maybe you could do is, why don't you show them some of the alternate colors, and then we'll talk about the blue.
Okay.
So show them like a pink. Show them that pink one.
So we got pink sapphire.
And
Yeah, we got to shade it. We need like a little teepee thing or a little tent thing to go over this. We don't have that like
an umbrella.
an umbrella. I have to practice your skills. So pink sapphire. Woo. Yeah, these are really pretty. You can get some of these that are really, really vibrant. One that we don't have here that I wish we did, that's one of my favorite ones of the sapphires, is the podparacha. And it's actually kind of almost like a neon orangey pink color.
It's supposed to be what they describe it as, the color of a lotus,
Lotus flower,
which I guess maybe I've never seen a lotus flower either, because
Now,
people will come in with what they think is a podparacha, and it'll be either a whole bunch of orange or a whole bunch of pink, but it's actually kind of a weird mix of the two. So,
yeah. I mean, at least they're getting close. It's not like they're coming in with like a green one going, hey.
Yeah, well, that's one that's not right.
Yeah. Okay, so we got, and then this is orange sapphire. That one actually looks a little bit better in here.
It's got its own umbrella.
Yeah, it does. But, yeah, you can see that it's got some red tones to it, but this is primarily orange. So,
Take that back.
yeah. This is the only one. So, then we got yellow sapphire.
And actually, there's white sapphire in there too.
Yep. So, yeah, the sapphire can come in every color but red. Like we said, it's red, it's ruby. So,
pure corundum would be colorless.
yes. There's another yellow sapphire.
That's almost a golden.
Yeah. Yeah, they're really pretty. If you can get some of these cut really, really well, there's times that it can be difficult to tell between some of these like yellow sapphires, fancy yellow sapphires, and like fancy yellow diamonds. You get them right next to each other, you can tell the difference. But we have a lot of people that mistake the yellows in this for yellow diamonds, but they're actually yellow sapphires.
And actually, the white sapphires they mistake.
Yeah, that's true. Those do get interchanged a lot, and because sapphire is so hard, because it is a 9 on the Mohs scale, so really the only thing harder than that's diamond. It holds up really, really well. It works great in pretty much any type of jewelry application you can think of. I love it because if we got to work on it, I don't have to worry about heat or anything. They'll take whatever I can throw at it.
Right.
Kind of freaked me out the first couple times that I was working on sapphire and ruby because they'll take heat really well, and this was before we got a laser. When I'd retip on them and everything, you'd have to get the prongs hot to melt the metal on top. And the stones would turn almost black. They'd get really, really dark from the heat. And then when they cooled, they went back to their original color. It's kind of crazy, but really makes you start sweating when you think you just ruined a several $1,000 stone, only to find out that, well, it goes right back to where it was. So there it is. So
excuse me.
So yeah, sapphires come in all different colors. We don't have any greens to show you right now, but there's just a bunch of different colors, about any color you can think of. Some of them not so pretty, but most of them are actually really pretty stones. So everything that we're going to talk about with the blues pretty much applies to the other colors, with the exception of some of the treatments. So with some of these other ones, they don't have the same exact treatments. They may undergo something similar. But blues are probably the most heavily, I guess you could say, produced.
Probably of the colored stones, I would say probably blue sapphire is the most popular right now.
Yeah.
At least that's what the Tucson's the largest gem mineral show, and that was the thing they basically said was sapphire was still very strong.
Yeah.
So.
And that's pretty much on a regular basis. There's been some years where something else might have a little bit.
Ruby and emerald.
Yeah, they kind of maybe fight over that top position a little bit, but sapphire, blue sapphire, it's always a really, really strong stone as far as its popularity and where it's being used in the jewelry industry.
It's just pretty, and then the other thing is, like Colton said, it's really durable.
Yeah.
That we can do a lot of different repair work.
You can drop it on the counter like I just did.
Well, that's not advisable, but actually it's pretty tough too.
Yeah, it really is. So because of its hardness and everything too, you get a really, really nice polish on it, and you can get just really beautiful stones, and they're going to hold up for many years. So here's nice blue sapphire.
I don't know if I can. Can't even make it. No, come back a little bit.
There we go. There we go. Yeah, it's not focusing on here real well, but this actually a really, really, really pretty stone here.
And then on the blues, quality-wise, everybody's got a little different idea, I guess. But to me, the ones they think are the most expensive, to me, are just a little bit too dark. So they get tone is just too much saturation, I guess. I like to be able to see that blue.
I'm going to show you some of these that are in the boxes. It's a little bit more difficult to show you these because they're loose. But yeah, And they all have a little bit different tones to them, and actually their origin can have something to do with that too.
And these have all been heated.
Mm-hmm.
Um, if you get a sapphire that is not heated, they're considerably more expensive because there's just not much material that's not heated.
Yeah, it's actually such a common practice that basically it's just an understood treatment that it's going to happen. And so don't even mention it whenever stuff is being sold. It's actually the only time that anything is mentioned about treatment, I guess, as far as like heating and stuff goes, is whenever a stone is not heated.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's so rare that you find a stone that's that intense of color without having some sort of a treatment done to it. And so the heated sapphires, that's basically the moment they come out of the ground, it's just kind of an instant thing. Unless they see something exceptional in there, they pretty much heat the whole batch. And what that does, and I can kind of show you some pictures here, what that'll do is it'll take stones that are really pale or maybe even a different color, and by heating,
a lot of them will be even gray.
yeah, I mean, they can look pretty bad. So this is a before and after, and these are actually in transmitted light, so it has light coming through it so you can see the color zoning and everything. But this is the before heat treatment, this is after. So you can obviously see why they would want to do that, but I would probably want to take maybe that pink one out of there, but you know, that's just me. So I guess it's not
It's not
that
it's
incredible.
Not pink, it's not pink enough.
No, but that is the big treatment with those is going to be heat. There's other different treatments that they can do, but before we get into that too much more, when we talk about maybe like their the crystal itself and origin, where the big producers are, I guess maybe where some of the big producers are, and then where some of the nicer stones are coming from, because those don't necessarily correlate.
I guess, you know, similar to ruby, Burma is still going to produce a lot of really nice sapphire. Sri Lanka, Australia,
Cambodia,
yeah, probably Vietnam. I know I've seen
Thailand.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
but probably some of the, well, and then the cashmere up in Afghanistan, or
Yeah, the cashmere sapphires are incredible.
I don't know how much production is coming out of Kashmir just because of the Afghanistan and that's right at the border of what,
Pakistan, India, Afghanistan area. Yeah, it's kind of a, well, obviously if you ever watch the news, you can kind of tell that that's kind of a hostile area, so you don't necessarily want to be out there with a shovel and a basket trying to dig up stones while there's, you know, bullets flying by.
I know that Madagascar produces ruby. I don't know if I've ever seen any sapphire from Madagascar.
They do. Matter of fact, there was a deal in here talking about that. But yeah, the other ones.
And then at one time, some of the finest unheated material in the world came from Montana, but that's almost. I don't know.
That's a fun place too. Yogo.
Yeah, Yogo Gulch. So I don't know that there's much production, but they're still selling older stones. In fact, we had access to a bracelet that was made up of all Montana sapphires set in platinum.
Yeah.
I think they ranged from like 1.5 carats to 2 carats, somewhat like that. I think there were 7 of them in there, if I remember right. But.
Yeah. Okay, so let's see. Haley was asking, how does the heat react to the sapphires to change the color?
Okay. There's a couple things. One of the things that's in sapphire a lot of times is rutile, and they can actually heat the sapphire And rutile in a sapphire looks kind of like needles, little bitty.
Call it silk sometimes.
Yeah, but yeah, like I guess would be little fine
Yeah.
thread, I guess. But
Yeah,
it's
if
all
it's
straight.
prominent enough and it's cut correctly, that's when you start getting like star sapphires and stuff like that.
But a lot of times what they'll do is they'll heat that to remove the rutile. The other thing would be, yeah, you can kind of see it in there. And I guess I don't know exactly, there for a long time it was almost like a big secret. They were heating these, but they were kind of doing it crudely because they'd use like 55-gallon drums and they'd
That's
pack
actually
it.
still
Yeah, I
how
know.
they're, yeah. I mean, that you can see, and let me see if I got a picture in here. I mean, you'd actually, in some of these places where...
They call it burning them.
Yeah, I
And
mean...
And they do it without oxygen, so.
Yeah, and it's one of those deals. Basically, it's removing some of the trace elements that are maybe causing a little bit different color in there. Because with blue sapphires, the main reason for that is trace elements of titanium and iron.
Iron, yeah.
And so, if they've got something else in there that's creating a different color that's competing with that blue, by heating that, it basically tries to either break it down or remove some of those trace elements from the crystal.
But see, the rutile would be a titanium crystal, so.
Mm-hmm. So that could maybe disperse it a little bit more evenly through the...
And that's actually probably a really good question because I had a customer that's basically looking for white sapphire. And up until this guy was looking for the white sapphire, I just figured this is going to be fairly easy to find and fairly inexpensive, but I got kind of a rude shock because they were actually, a lot of the white sapphire, they heat to get either blue or yellow,
Mm-hmm.
depending on what's in that crystal. And what kind of gets me is basically pure corundum is not going to have those
Trace elements.
in
Yeah.
there. So they're taking this white, and I guess maybe it's in there, but somehow it's not. I don't know what the heat actually does, but
Yeah, some of that is just, I guess there's not a lot of explanation to why some of that happens. Like with
we
a lot of other
we could find out though, cause
with a lot of other stones, usually what happens when you apply heat to it is they actually lose color. Like amethyst, citrine, some of those other ones. If I was to heat up an amethyst, it'll actually turn white.
Right.
Or it'll lighten significantly.
get to almost a lilac color.
Yeah, with these, it does the complete opposite 'cause they heat ruby too. And it just intensifies the color. But, as far as knowing exactly what's happening there, from what we can tell is basically it is removing some of the trace elements, kind of breaking up some of that silk and stuff
Or
to enhance it.
maybe somehow the heating takes the shrouding off of that color. I don't know how. What I may do is call. I know a guy there at GIA. Shane McClure is basically a research
He's an R&D guy.
guy for GIA, and he was actually in a class behind me. I may call him and kind of see if he can explain the heating a little bit.
Okay, so one thing we didn't talk about was the crystals themselves, what they look like. They're kind of funny looking, and you wouldn't expect, nice stones like this to come out of crystals that look like that, but they do. And they're always kind of a weird...
Now, are they triclinic?
No, hexagonal bipyramid.
Oh, okay.
So,
But this is almost the shape of what a diamond crystal would be.
somewhat, yeah.
Which is kinda
And
weird.
some of them kind of come a little bit tabular and stuff like that too. And yeah, they're just kind of unusual shapes. Here's a huge one right here. But and then we've got one on the cover that you can kind of see. It's a little bit rough. It looks maybe a little bit more like a diamond mackerel. So yeah,
And there is
it's kinda cool.
there is what's called massive sapphire,
Mhm.
and some of that is actually carved in. So it's going to be opaque, but it can have a strong blue color to it. I don't know if we've got any. Well, that one was almost basically a.
Yeah, and I actually have some over on my desk, but yeah, the books are nice, so
You can get some of those. You go to GIA,
yeah,
and they are
Yeah.
a lot nicer than when I went. I don't know, color was not in yet or whatever, but
hadn't been invented yet.
yeah.
They were still doing the silver plate.
We got to see the real stuff. Not that you didn't, but I mean.
We got to see the real stuff, and we got color books,
Pictures. Yeah.
and they weren't painted or scribed into like a tablet.
Yeah,
you know?
listen to them. Everybody thinks they're comedians.
Yeah. And see, whenever they didn't need these whenever the Sapphire was being formed.
Yeah, we were there during the growth.
yeah. So they could have.
That's another thing. Synthetic sapphire, which we haven't brought up until now.
Yeah.
I'm going to say maybe back in maybe the 1880s, 1890s, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
Would have been when they first started making synthetic sapphire. So a lot of people will bring in a large blue stone and it is sapphire, but it's not natural sapphire because it was there for a long time. Probably the jewelers didn't know whether they were buying natural or synthetic.
Well, and that goes back to what we talked about with ruby. Is a lot of people, they get jewelry passed down through the generations through a family, and it's like, oh, well, that's my great grandpa's ruby or great grandpa's sapphire or whatever. But we have to be kind of the bearer of bad news to tell them that it's synthetic, and they go, well, how could that possibly be? It's over 100 years old. Well, the process is over 100 years old too, but the identification is not. So it's one of those deals that a lot of times, they were selling sapphire because everything told them it was sapphire. They didn't know the difference, and so they couldn't inform.
Some of them probably didn't even know it existed.
Yeah, for many years, while that was being produced, it was just getting thrown in with the rest of the stuff and getting cut. And nobody knew any better, and nobody was telling them anything different. And so it has all the same properties with some minor exceptions as far as what we can see in the stones.
Visual. Yeah.
So, if they didn't know what to look for, which they didn't, then they had no way of knowing what they were selling. So, yeah, it was all being sold as natural, even though it was probably made in a lab somewhere. But to go down that road, with the synthetic stuff, for us, it's actually fairly easy to identify.
Part of it is because it's been around as long as what it has.
Yeah, but the characteristics of the synthetic stuff are pretty easily identified too. With sapphire, we showed you some of the crystals and everything. Well, the internal characteristics of it, like the color zoning and stuff like that, follow that crystal structure. So you'll have little angles in there like that that's kind of in a hexagonal pattern.
It almost looks like tree rings.
Except they're angular. Yeah. But in the synthetic stuff, they're rounded because it's just like with the synthetic ruby. It's created on what we call a boule. It's kind of a baseball bat looking deal. And then they just slice it and cut it. Well, when they cut that, it lets us see those little curved rings, or what we call curved striae in there, and that's a dead giveaway that it's synthetic.
And the reason that it's curved is they're growing this boule on, I guess I'll call it a plate or a platform, and it's
spinning.
actually turning.
Yeah.
So I don't know why they do that turning. I guess so you get.
They should have done that angles. It would have been a lot more difficult to.
Yeah.
It's like an early form of 3D printing, except they just didn't know what shape they were going to come out with.
Well, it must have been somebody who was just like baseball, or a candle, because it kind of looked like fat candles, or.
Yeah. You put a wick in it, and you'd never burn it out.
Yeah. Wouldn't burn
Wouldn't
very long
smell
either.
good either.
Wouldn't burn very long either.
No. But, the good thing is with that, though there is a lot of synthetic stuff out there, we can tell the difference pretty easily. The other thing is, too, it is required by law that, you tell them whenever it's being sold that it's a synthetic. So, there's been some instances in the past where something like that didn't happen, but was taken care of pretty quickly. So, we try and stay clear of the synthetic stuff, just because there's really no need for it, as far as we're concerned. That really where the synthetic sapphire, I guess, has a really good place for it is, for like crystals and watches. So like on the top of your watch, what you look through, like Rolex and a lot of the high-end watches are going to use synthetic sapphire.
Citizen has.
Yeah, Citizen.
Signature line has.
Some of their Eco-Dry line and all their signature watches are going to have synthetic sapphire crystals in them. And basically, it's for the durability. That hardness, it's so much harder than just glass, what was used in there before, or even plastic.
Or a mineral crystal.
Yeah. And so the wearability is greatly improved there. They also use them for glasses. Elton John had some sapphire glasses at one point, had blue lenses.
Was his rose-tinted ones, were they?
I think those were too.
Really?
Yeah, I think those were actually synthetic sapphire.
Mm.
So, yeah, those would be some pricey glasses.
Well, maybe not. I mean...
You wouldn't have to worry about scratching them. I mean...
Yeah, I wonder if they'd be heavier, though.
I don't know.
Sapphire's quite a bit denser than glass.
Yeah. Probably leave some indentations there, but it definitely improves.
There should be somebody over there to help you.
It definitely improves the wearability of stuff. So,
yeah, there's not gonna be any. Yeah, there we go.
What else do we want to talk about on Sapphire? We've kind of gone all over the place. We've been a little unorganized today. Do you guys have any questions? Any questions about sapphires, the different colors?
I guess one thing we could talk about is because of the way the crystal grows, a lot of sapphires are cut in ovals, but they can be cut in any shape. Probably one thing is sapphire grows in a little larger crystals than what ruby does, so you can get some pretty good sized sapphires. They're still going to get to be expensive, especially if they're a really nice gemmy color to begin with. But ruby, you get into 4, 5, 6 carat rubies. That's really big. But sapphires, you could get into the 20, 30 carats.
Yeah.
And that's still really big. But I don't think I've ever had my hands on a 20 carat ruby of gem quality.
No, not that I've seen. Oh, I know one that we haven't talked about.
What?
Color change.
Alexandrite line?
Yeah. There is color change sapphire, which is really cool. So, and some people, like this guy, calls them Alexandrite-like sapphires. And so they do change based on the type of light that they're in. And they do the same kind of color change. They're going to go from green to red, or a shade of green to red, maybe
more
a more
like
blue green,
like a blue
green to kind of a purplish, kind of a purplish color.
It's really not the same color change that Alexandrite has, but it does.
Unless you get the synthetic stuff, the synthetic sapphire, color change sapphire is pretty crazy.
But it's still not the same.
Yeah, and we've talked a little bit about when we did our
phenomenal stones.
Yeah, the phenomenal stones, that there is star sapphire. And star sapphire comes in a bunch of different colors. Probably the most common that people have seen is probably black star sapphire, which I know it looks a little bit brown in this picture. It's probably actually the light that they're using.
But it's
got a little bit of brown to it, but this stuff's pretty common. You can get it in blues. This one's really, really rare. This one actually has a 12-ray star, which is really cool. Or a 12-legged star, I guess you could say. Yeah, and you can actually get it in synthetic as well. So this stuff's really cool.
How are y'all?
Good, and you?
I'm good.
You're just in time for the show.
Oh God, what are you showing now?
We're live on
that.
Yeah.
Oh, y'all show.
Okay, so we talked about the Podparacha, and I know we didn't have one to show you, but this is basically that color that's supposed to be like the lotus flower. and yeah, really, really cool stuff. But show you a couple more pictures here of the different sapphires. And so that's kind of it in a nutshell. Again, you know, it's coming up. September is the month that has sapphires its birthstone. So if you got September birthday, you got a lot of colors to pick from. If not, you don't have to be a September baby to wear sapphire. It's awesome stuff. I mean, I'm in October, but my wedding ring is actually a sapphire center. So, you know, it's really cool stuff. You can get really beautiful stones. You can get them in a lot of different sizes. You can get them really small. You can get them really big. You can get them in, like I said, pretty much every color. And they hold up really well. They're actually now starting to cut stuff like diamonds. And so they're really, really bright. They're all calibrated so they're all the same size. It makes for some really cool, really intense pieces. And so definitely something to check out. If you guys have any other questions, feel free to give us a call. Stop by the store. We've got a lot of stuff you can look at. We always love having people come in and get to play with the stuff and getting really hands-on, getting to see the stones and ask questions here in person and really get to see what they're all about, because they're just so much more impressive to see for yourself and kind of hold them and see what's going on there. But okay, so now it's time to give away our pendant. Woo! I don't know who wants it, but we're going to see who's going to get it. So our comment number is number 9. I know it's backwards, but and I put the little line under it before so that we could make sure that it's, you know, not getting confused. So we've got to count down here and see where we're at. We got a lot of comments here. Okay, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oop, I lost count. Hold on. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Chris, you are our winner. I'm sorry, I'm not going to even attempt to pronounce your last name because I know I'm just going to botch it. And so we're going to say Chris Y. You're our winner with your comment. It's beautiful. Well, I hope you think this is beautiful because you are our winner today. And so you can either private message us or call us here at Susann's and we can arrange for you to get that. Like I said, if you guys have any other questions or anything, feel free to comment on the video or leave us a comment in our message box on our Susann's Facebook, or call us here at 361-991-7565, or you can stop by our store here at 4254 South Alameda in Corpus Christi. We thank you guys for joining us. Check us out next week. We'll have another giveaway. I don't know what it's going to be yet, but we'll definitely have something to shine you up for the day. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you guys next week. Thanks. Bye.